Hello, guys, and welcome to episode 11 of Simon Talks Life. In this episode, we're going to be talking about cartoons. Now, nothing says you're not really an adult, quite like being a 51-year-old male doing a series where you get to talk about things and dedicating an episode of that series where you're talking about things to one of the larger boxes, which is the series 3. And you're 21 years old and you're doing a series opening Transformers Chinese trading cards while talking about cartoons, really, isn't it? So when you think about it, I am 0 for 6 or something like that when it comes to being an adult. But you know what, I don't fucking care. You know why I don't care? Sorry for my language, sorry for the French. You know why I don't care? Because being an adult in this day and age is overrated, mate. So I want to talk about cartoons. I am going to talk about cartoons. Now obviously there's going to be an element of nostalgia in this because I'm going to be talking about the cartoons that I might have grown up with. Right? So I'm not just obviously going to talk about Transformers because you guys will all know that, you know, my inspiration was the Transformers Series 1. Simon, you're having trouble this afternoon, mate. You just seem to be having it. There we go, that's fine. G1 and 86 obviously, but I wasn't really planning on speaking so much about Transformers cartoons in this episode. But I suppose whatever other cartoons you may have influenced you growing up, other cartoons that possibly were airing at the same time. Okay, Transformers was obviously the big one. For me, really. But the funny thing was, I don't remember having as much exposure with the Transformers cartoons as I would have liked. You know, maybe they weren't just airing as much when I was free as a child. I'm talking about my time in England so much more so than when I was out here. Because when I came out here to Australia, I would have been 13 years old. By about then, I suppose my tastes would have been more sort of grown up, you might say. I know, take that grown up term very loosely when you're dealing with me. Outside of I don't know if anyone else who's watching was an 80s child as well. But growing up in the 80s, I wouldn't trade it for anything. It was just brilliant. This is a special one I've got. This is going to be a UR. Again, I was getting a bit of a purple motif there. Shockwave once more. I think I pulled that Shockwave in the last video. Not really ideal, is it? No. I've got loads of URs. As you can imagine, I've got tons of things. So outside of Transformers, the only other cartoon that I had a lot of exposure with was the Hulk cartoon that came out around 83, 82, 83, something like that. It was a brilliant cartoon, really. Obviously, there was a bit of narrator work by Stan Lee as well. Such a distinct voice, Stan. Hi, I'm Stan Lee. Like he used to, it was really brilliant. It was a brilliant cartoon. So much so that in more recent years, I actually bought the DVD set of it. I should have really had it here to display, but I'm a muppet really, so I didn't do that. But it was a brilliant cartoon, and it was the only other cartoon that I might have had exposure to outside of obviously Transformers. I did also get into. It wasn't really a cartoon. I am also going to do another episode of Simon Talks Life talking about TV shows. So I won't really talk about a TV show so much in this one, but you do sort of want to ask yourself, where do cartoons end and TV shows begin, right? But I did also watch, as far as cartoons were concerned, Centurions, Power Extreme, all that kind of stuff, That was brilliant. And then I also watched those like puppet kind of shows, like Starfleet. I think it was called like X-Force or something like that. And Terrorhawks. You know, even now I'll still listen to the theme for that because it was just so. You would recognise. Anyway, I'm not Simon. Don't do that. Mainly though, my cartoons were, for the most part for me, Transformers and that Hulk cartoon. You know, this is definitely an MR. I think it's going to be a Bumblebee. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's okay. I mean, would I rather have one of the rare SCs or a BP than an MR? Yeah, I would actually. Yeah. You know what's funny though? Some of the cartoons I'm talking about were better written than some of these live action, weren't they? You know. I don't want to be that guy, but you know, I don't want to turn this into a bit of a dig about the live action Transformers movies. But yeah, look, as far as cartoons were concerned, I did also like Centurions was good, but look, if you knew that, Hulk one from about that time, 82, 83, because they had some classic episodes. Like there was that episode where he was shrunk down, you know. I mean, the Hulk is still a badass, right? But they even did a thing where they kind of did that thing to his voice as well. So it was obvious that he was obviously small Hulk, but still obviously very strong. So he's going up against rats and spiders and scorpions and all, and he's still kicking their ass because he's the Hulk, you know. When it comes to I might talk about, because I'm gonna do other. I don't want to get off the topic of cartoons really in this episode because I'm going to be talking about, I suppose you might say, some like-minded topics where there's a bit of overlap, you know. So the funny thing is, obviously, with me talking about cartoons here, I don't really have a lot to say. I suppose I could talk about which episode of, or I could talk about other episodes in that Hulk one that I like, you know, or what episode of Transformers was my favourite. I think I said it before, but it was that Fire Top Mountain one, you know, where Jetfire goes to pick up Brawn and Windcharger and they fly to the Andes Mountains, and Megatron gets that crystal of power or something like that, you know. So Jetfire gets shot by Starscream. I think that's the episode where they dig Jetfire out from the ice after the initial. I guess they kind of were like, oh, he's a really good character, we can use him, so they got him back out again, you know. But it was that great dynamic between Starscream, Thundercracker, and Skywarp, you know. Starscream was a great character, he really was, you know. I mean, they all were, really. There's so much personality, you know. This is, I think it's also a CO, and I think it's another Ratchet. Oh, that's Megatron the UR. That's okay. I mean, always happy to get another Megatron card, even though obviously I've got all of the UR several times over, including Megatron. But always happy to have him. Certainly. Not too bad, really. I don't like getting more than 2 or 3 URs in every pack, though, because they're not. I wouldn't call them rare. Anyway, I wouldn't call them rare. I do also like the episode when they first created the Dinobots, you know. This is a quite special one, isn't it? Let's see. Let's do a nice little reveal here. It's actually not. Simon, you suck. What are you doing? I'm always so careful about it, you know. Maybe a bit too careful, really. You know. What kind? You know, obviously I'm aware it was like Mask or something like that, but I don't know. Like sometimes when you're a kid, these cartoons just aren't playing when you might have the ability to watch them, you know. But I did get into those puppet shows as well. Terrorhawks I did enjoy for a bit. This is a UR. It might be another Optimus. I kind of get that sort of feeling. It is, yeah. I got that in the previous episode as well. I don't really want to be doing that, you know? But, like, you know, I've had the same box. I've pulled the same UR. Let's say if this was the same as that one, you know? Twice in the same box. Like, that's a bit much, isn't it, really? You know? But that's okay. Cartoons were great, though, because obviously that's when the nostalgia comes into it, you know? Human beings back then, this is an AR I've got coming up here. I saw the gold outline. Human beings are so impressionable when we're young, aren't we? Ready? Scourge. I like the AR. I'll tell you why in just a moment. This is the AR. That's the last special one, actually. It's a shame. I like the AR because they're all like straight out of the '86 movie. You know, the gold motif is lovely, all of that, but they're all straight out of the '86 movie. They're a lovely card, really. So I know these are going to be just the base set. That's okay. But yeah, it's really quite funny, isn't it, really? That here I am, a grown adult, 51 years of age, I've got a mortgage, I'm married, you know, don't have any children, but then why would I need children? I am a child, right? And I'm dedicating an episode talking about, obviously Transformers, you know, talking about cartoons, you know. But then, there are going to be people who are probably watching this going, why didn't you fucking grow up? And I'm like, why? Because being an adult is such fun, is it? Like, what am I supposed to do being an adult, right? Like, obviously, you're going to say, well, you were supposed to procreate and have kids. Really? It's a bit like Ricky Gervais said, isn't it, really? When people ask, why do you have kids? Why don't you have any kids? And he says, it's a weird question to ask it. Why don't you have kids as opposed to why do? Why do you? You know, like, you know, look, that's a different topic, really. I didn't really ever want to have kids. It's exactly the same ones I got last time as well. But obviously, yeah, Transformers, the Hulk. I did like Centurions. That was pretty good, you know. It's one of those ones where it's like you've got 3 or 4 of them and you pick your favourite. Like you had the Earth guy, he was yellow. You had like the Air guy, he was blue. The Water guy, I don't know, red or something, you know. I'm bollocking that up, aren't I? Don't know always. Who's watching me, really? This is crazy, isn't it? I enjoy it. It's fine. I like it. This has been episode 11 of Simon Talks Life, where he rambles about just inconsequential, stupid bullshit stuff, really. Stay tuned next time for episode 12.